There's a raise of $20 and 2 callers, and we're going to 3-bet to $100.
No one's scared? All right.
We have 8 9 of diamonds going multi-way to a flop, which is ace 5 3 2 diamonds. We're feeling good about a flush draw, so we're going to c-bet small multi-way to $90. This bet will accomplish a lot. It'll thin the field, and the goal is to go heads up to a turn, which does happen. The original opener calls, and the caller in between folds, and we're going to a turn. We're only going to continue our bluff if we gain equity. When the turn is the 7 of spades, we now have a gutter to a straight. Our opponent checks to us, and now we're going to represent our range. Ace-king, aces, ace-queen. We put in a bet that's hefty. The size of the pot, $410. This will fold out all lower aces like ace-6 suited, ace-8 suited, ace-9 suited. This will put those hands in a tough spot. After 30 seconds, our opponent does put in the call. We now can put him on a single pair holding like ace-10, ace-jack. Any sets or 2-pair combos would have raised on the flop, so now we're going to a river. If we do not hit any of our outs, we're going to shut down and give it up because our opponent only has around $500 behind, and the pot's around $900, but you're not going to believe what hits the river. It's the 6 of hearts. We now have the cojones, the best possible hand for this board, and our opponent decides to go into the tank before he does decide to check to us, and we only have one option here, and that's to put it all in. Our hand looks like missed diamonds, which it is, but we backdoored into the nuts. Lucky, lucky us. Our opponent does put in the call, and he shows ace, jack of hearts. So I don't think he was going to fold if we missed, so I'm glad that we had a plan prepared, and we didn't punt it off if we missed. Wow, our first hand, and we double up. I cannot believe it. Thanks, everybody, for joining. My name is funkypunts. I love poker. It's been my new passion since coronavirus, and I can't wait to see where this channel goes. If you'd like to join my poker journey, make sure you guys subscribe and turn notifications, and we're on to the next hand. We have ace, queen of clubs in the big blind. The button opens to 30, and we're just going to smooth call here with our suited ace because this opponent's been very, very nitty since we've been at the table. I prefer a raise with ace, queen of clubs, especially out of position, but we're going to call and assess a flop. The flop comes queen 10-4 rainbow. We check to our opponent, and he decides to bet a little bit bigger than we expected, $40. We're going to put in the call. We're going nowhere with top. The turn is the 3 of clubs. We gain the backdoor flush draw now to the nuts. We're very excited now. We're going to check to our opponent and see what he wants to do, and he decides to bet very big again. He makes it $120. That's nearly the size of the pot. And I think with this sizing, we shouldn't be raising because this screams like pocket 4s, maybe pocket 10s, or queen 10, which beats us right now. So we're going to put in the call and evaluate a river. And I make a mistake here. My pacing in these older vlogs are quite bad. I snap call essentially very quickly, which I think caps my range to single pair holdings or straight draws. I need to take my time with my bets. The river is the 6 of clubs. We have the nut flush. Only deuce 5 of clubs and 5-7 of clubs beat us for the straight flush. But we're feeling great, and we're going to check to our opponent. We don't need to lead here or try to squeeze out value because he's already showed so much interest with every bet size on the flop and the turn. So we check to our opponent, and he does not disappoint with a large size. He makes it $250. We take our time, and we put in the check raise to all in, and he frustratingly folds. I think he might have pocket jacks or maybe pocket 9s and just wanted to represent top pair. And we just had the goods, and we do show the table. Sometimes it's good to keep them guessing and also let them know, hey, we're not bluffing all the time, and we have the nards. It's not the nuts, but it's effectively the nuts. The only reason why I bought into the 2-5 table is because all the 1-2 tables were filled, and we were waiting for our good friend Giljack Poker, who's had a lot of success on YouTube. You guys should go check him out. His channel is incredible. He's literally the next prodigy. The dude's a beast. He ended up busting attorney, sadly, so we cashed out for a profit of $1.85K, and we're moving over to Poker House Dallas, an incredible room. We buy into the 1-2 table for the max 500, and the action does not stop. And the first hand is gorgeous. Pocket kings under the gun. There's a $5 limp, and we're just going to raise it up to $20 here. And we end up getting called multi-way, and we're going to a flop, which comes king high. The board is king 7-6 rainbow, and we decided to bet $15. I honestly hate this sizing. I'm learning a lot from my mistakes by making these vlogs and listening to your guys' criticism. We should be going bigger here because Texans can have any 2 cards sometimes, and everyone calls. The turn is the 8 of spades, probably one of the worst cards in the deck. Many straights and 2-pair combos got there, but we're still going to put out a bet with top set here because if the board pairs on the river against a slow played straight, we're going to get all the money. We put out a bet of $50. There's a caller, and then the opponent in position jams all in for $340. Now this is a tough spot. Top set. We're only beat by a couple combos of straights, 9-10 or 5-9, which I think is unlikely, or 4-5. I don't know if I'm good enough to lay down top set in Texas. Maybe on more nittier tables. This felt way too exploitable for me to fold top set against a jam. So we put in the call, and we're hoping for the best. We asked the opponent to run it multiple times, but he says 1 time only. I say okay, and the river is the 5 of spades, and he shows us 10 9 of diamonds for the nut straight, and we lose a big one. I host a private meetup game on Club GG every Sunday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. PST. Make sure you guys join, and let's punt together and have some fun. The link is in my bio. All you have to do is message us on Telegram, and we'll help you out. All right, just shake it off onto the next hand. We're on the button. We have ace-king offsuit. There's an open under the gun to $20, and we're going to bet large with our premium holding to 75, and our opponent does call. A tip I learned from the local crushers next gen is to go much larger here in Texas with your premiums just to get more value. Thanks, Rosie. Love you so much. The flop comes Jack 10-6 rainbow. Our opponent checks to us, and I still think we should put a bet in here just to fold out all lower pocket pairs or ace-queen, maybe ace-9 suited. So we put out a decent-sized bet of $80, and our opponent does put in the call. When the turn comes the 9 of diamonds and our opponent checks to us, we don't need to continue bluffing on this card. We're just going to realize our equity with our 2 overs and our gutter to the straight and see a river. So we're going to check this back. The river is the 3 of hearts, a blank. Our opponent goes into the tank, and our opponent decides to put out a value-size bet of $100 into a pot that has 300. Trying to understand the story. Yes, he might have a jack. Maybe he has king-queen, but I think he would go much larger with king-queen, especially here in Texas. But we do block that hand, so I think it's unlikely. The one thing about this bet is that it was not calculated. He just threw in a $100 chip. Just felt like, hey, I'm going to put in a bet that might be hard to call with ace-high. We have the best possible ace-high, and this is why I love poker. This hand is a puzzle that I want to figure out and make the best decision on. We do decide to put in the call, and our opponent shows us ace-queen.
King. Ace king. Oh my god.
And we scoop this massive pot of $433, and the table is pretty flabbergasted. Yes, I'm blushing. I know that it's a donkey call, but I love going with my gut and trusting myself, and that's what I think makes a great player, and I want to be that. I'm feeling very proud of myself with the ace-high call. My track record with ace-high calls is not the best, but I want to be able to utilize it when the situation arises. All right, this next one is a funky one. We have a suited gapper, 7-5 of hearts. There's a raise to $10, and we're going to bump it up to $30. After I 3-bet, a very new player to my left puts in the call. It looks like it's his 5th time playing poker, and the originator does call, and we're going 3 ways to a flop. We couldn't ask for anything better than 7-10-3 to hearts. We have middle pair, and we have a flush draw. We put out a $50 continuation bet. The goal for this bet is to thin out the field, which it does happen. The new player calls, and the other opponent folds. We're going heads up to a turn, which is the 4 of spades. So now we have a gutter to the straight and the flush draw and a pair. Our opponent only has around $250 here. We don't need to go too big and try to push him out of here because we have a lot of equity and a pair. So we put in a sizable bet, half pot, to $110, and our opponent does decide to put in the call. And now we're ready to slow it down unless we hit our out. But guess what hits the river? The jack of hearts. We have the 7-high flush. One habit that I like to exercise when you hit your out or your draw is to take a couple breaths before you make your move. And that's what I do here. I take a couple breaths and I put him all in for his remaining stack, which is around $125. Our opponent ends up snap folding, And now we're going to move to another table. We cash out and we earn around $300 and another $78 from Double Board PLO Bomb Pot, which is so fun. We've played over 9 hours of poker so far. We're on our third table of the day. It's 1-2 Texas Hold'em. But the thing is, this is a private game. We're with our friends. You can see Giljack and our friend Joey on the top right-hand corner. And we have a quadruple straddle going on for our first hand. We have around $820 in our stack, and we look down at King 10 offsuit. When it folds to us, we're going to take advantage of our equity. We have a strong candidate to bluff with. We have great removal, so we're going to raise it up to $160, and everyone snap folds, and we scoop like $70 for free. What a move. So stoked on this. Love exercising these sort of spots and getting more comfortable. So our next hand, we look down at King Jack of Hearts. There's an open to 10, a 3-bet to 30, and I think with this hand, we want a 4-bet in position and thin the field, so we make it $100, and we do accomplish that. Gil folds, and the original 3-better decides to call, and now we're going heads up to a flop. We drill top pair, but it's on a monotone board, Jack 7-4 all clubs. Our opponent checks, and we're going to check this back. We're never going to get 3 streets of value on a board like this. The turn is the 5 of spades. Not a good looking card, but we still have top pair with a great kicker. Our opponent decides to bet $100. This guy has been crazy. He is a maniac, a lot of fun, lots of action, and we're going to put in the call and we snap it off, which I think is a mistake. These timing tells are huge when it comes to poker, and I need to get rid of them. Then the river pairs the board. It's the 5 of hearts. Our opponent decides to rip it all in for $253. We're just going to snap this off because we've seen this guy show up with some very, very questionable hands at Showdown. And we do win against Jack 3 of diamonds. Yes, the 3-bet Jack 3 of diamonds and then called my 4-bet out of position with it.
Suited. I've been misplaying you all. What the heck? I thought this thing was big as fuck. Hey. Oh, Lord.
This is going to be a fun table. We scoop a massive pot of $900, and the table realizes how crazy this guy is. We love the action here at Poker House. We end up punting around $250 to Joey with ace-king offsuit when he rivers the nuts. We're a little frustrated with him and make some questionable comments, but he understands because we've had a lot of history together.
All right, boys, here comes the squeeze.
We announce the table. We're going to squeeze this hand as we look down at ace of diamonds, jack of clubs. We make it $110. The same opponent who had jack 3 of diamonds calls, and we're going to a flop, which comes 10 high. When he checks to us, we're just going to check this back and realize our overs and our equities. I don't think we need to turn our hand to a bluff because we beat other ace highs as well. When the turn comes the 8 of clubs, our opponent puts out a bet of $85. We go into the tank, considering turning our hand into a bluff due to what this player has shown up with. But I think this bet says a lot. I think it says I have a pair and I want to see where I'm at, and I don't want to go too big. We just realize our equity and we put in the call with our gutter, 2 overs to the board. And guess what hits the felt? It's the 9 of clubs. We drill the straight. Our opponent does decide to check and give up the betting lead. When he checks to us, we take a while to find a value sizing. We don't want to overvalue our hand. We want to find a crying call from a 10. So we make it $150. And our opponent does flick in the chip, and he has a 10. And he said he has a set of 10s. I find that hard to believe, but I will console him and go on to the next hand. And we scoop another pot from the same player. The final hand of the night, we have ace, queen of spades. The action player raises to 15, and we're going to 3-bet to $55. And he puts in the call, and we're going heads up again to a flop. 8, 8, 7, 2 spades. I don't think we need to go too big here. We're just going to down bet to around $40, and our opponent does decide to put in the call. When the river is the 4 of hearts, I don't think there's any reason for us to turn our hand into a bluff here. We're going to realize our equity, and we're going to get called by any 7-4 or pocket pair. Our opponent checks, and we're going to snap check this back, and the river is a spade, and we have the nut flush. The great thing about this card is that any 6 makes a straight, and we believe our opponent will overvalue that hand, and he might even check raise us. So we're going to go for a small bet that looks like we're just trying to take the pot down. Make it half the size of the pot, $100, and our opponent decides to put in the call. He snaps it, and he flips over his cards before we do, and I thought we're losing to a full house, but he has pocket threes, and he thought he got the soul read in, and I understand he's looking for that hero call, but sadly it wasn't this time. I understand, man. But we are just running hot against this action player, and we scoop another nice size pot, and we're going to call it a night after Eddie rips it all in blind with $500. What is going on? We peel 8-6 offsuit, we can't call, and now it's time to cash out and see the profits. After cashing out on this table, we have a profit of $666, and the total profit on the day playing cash in Texas is $2,883. Wow. Still not a winning player, but I'm having lots of fun making these videos for you. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe and join the family.